Hello and welcome back to We Talk Talent, our highly popular interview series where we uncover stories, strategies, and solutions driving the future of talent, HR innovations, and leadership. I'm Abhik Roy, Associate Content and Community from ETHRWorld, and it's my pleasure to introduce the guest of our today's episode, Niren Srivastava, CHRO from
Hi.
Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Hi Niren, welcome to the
Hi.
show.
Thank
And
you. Thank you, Abhi. Thank you for having me here.
great. So we are so very glad to have you here. And so we'll start with the questions immediately.
Sure.
My first question to you is, over the past few years, we have seen a major shift in the workplace dynamics. How is
Yeah.
the industry adapting to this very new world of work?
Yeah, I think this is something which keeps all the business leaders, all the L&D professionals, all the HR professionals always busy and thinking. But I think more technology, the shift is obviously more technology, more AI-led models. That's one side, but from an industry perspective, the way the boom in financial services, I'm specific to BFSI, the way the boom has happened, uh, financial services as a vehicle, as an instrument, has reached in the uh, tier C, tier D, not only reached, the penetration has gone up massively in the last, specifically in the last decade, and more so in the last 5, 6 years. So penetration in the smaller markets, I think there's a lot of infusion of young talent which is happening in the core functions, right? One shift which we are observing is that the classical roles, right? Classical roles like not only the support roles, but the frontline classical roles of sales, product, investments, they are under a relook kind of a phase because bulk of them, Abhi, can be done differently, but most importantly, far more efficiently. So one major shift, and that's why I called out the L&D team as a cohort. There's a huge focus on upskilling, right? Because you cannot change people. You have to upskill the workforce. So the larger the firm, the larger the distribution reach and setup of the firm, the bigger the effort to upskill your workforce to keep in tune with the changing times.
Great. Building on that, you talked about how, Motilal is penetrating into tier two, tier three, cities. Just today's workforce, with that, is bringing, a wide range of backgrounds, identities, and expectations to the table.
Yeah.
So how are you evolving your DEI strategy to build a culture where everyone feels they truly belong?
Yeah, Abhik, my view on this is that look, the DI culture is nothing but actually a subset of a firm's culture, right?
Right.
And when a firm is focusing on values like empathy and respect as a part of their core as a DNA, then it will cut across all backgrounds, genders, identities, and will foster inclusivity, which is nothing but the DI approach. Right. So for me, both are very, very tightly linked to each other. Uh, what are we doing? I can talk and mention about us as a firm. We are focusing a lot on this aspect and have taken a lot of steps to strengthen this bit around culture. We are a firm which takes a lot of pride that our culture is something which supersedes everything. Right. Just to give you an example, the top management getting involved in making a culture handbook, right? The top management, the topmost management, the CEOs, the promoters themselves getting involved in ensuring that we drive that culture. Handbook is just a medium, but how do we drive that across the 8 lines of businesses we are operating? Right, to making a cultural anthem. We have actually made a cultural anthem at Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Also, we have identified a lot of culture champions, across all businesses, because one HR team, one training team, a group of leadership people, yes, they are the drivers of driving the culture, but I think you need far more ambassadors to drive the culture bit. So we have spent a lot of time in identifying those culture champions and equipping them, training them, right, to drive these cultural campaigns across the board, across the country, and many times the mediums are then converted into vernacular, platforms as well. Coming back to specifically, if you want to ask me from a DI perspective, I think we have very consciously tried. We are trying to build employee communities, and we are focusing on a cadre of, let's say, 1,000 plus employees who are in the organizational scheme of things, leaders, a level and above, 1,000 plus people who are leading teams, because they are the actual careers of inclusivity and championing this cause of DEI across the firm. If Just imagine these people handling an average team of 4 to 5 people, right? On an average, I'm saying many are handling larger teams. If I can uh, park this message of inclusivity, right, and focus on building diversity. And diversity, when I say diversity, is just not, basis gender, but in terms of thought, in terms of approach, inclusive diversity, as I call it. I think that those guys will become the carriers of driving the culture, of which DI is a part and parcel of. That's how I look at it.
Those were some wonderful insights. Now you also mentioned about, upskilling. So, going deeper into that, digital transformation is reshaping the entire BFSI sector. So, what are the learning strategies you are implementing to cultivate that high performance and digitally skilled workforce?
Yeah, Abhik, we are a firm which places a lot of pride in the fact that L&D is something wherein, L&D has been in our DNA, because we take a lot of pride in saying that our research is best. We are referred to as the benchmark in research-based advice to our clients, right? So if that is in the DNA, learning has to be in your DNA, right? So learning quotient, for example. So we have something called as learning quotient per employee. So what is a learning quotient? I think is the single biggest metric which is measurable and reported per employee, per vertical, per business, wherein each employee has to get a minimum learning quotient of 7. And how does one get a learning quotient of 7? You have all the platforms, all the mediums, digital and physical, wherein we would be focusing on functional learning, soft skills, and digital learning modes, right? So people are encouraged to go for these learning modes. There's a very deep level of analysis in terms of career pathways, which will be made up of. So it's a cycle. If you say that, if you ask a person, what is that you want to become, he will say, I want to become XYZ. Now, to get that role, what are the skills I need to develop in myself? He will say one, two, three skills. Come down and then say, okay, to augment those, and actually, what is that I want? Equip myself to what I have. If you minus that, it is the gap. Now, to augment that gap, the L&D team will ensure that hyper personalized, digital, functional, and soft skill, learning delivery happens, which in turn gives someone a LQ, which is the learning quotient. And we drive it very, very seriously. In fact, learning quotient is a part of our promotion exercises, is a part of our appraisal exercises, and is a part of our nomination to all the leadership management development programs. Because we would want to check, and we convey to our employees that if you're serious about growing, you have to be serious about learning, because both are complementing, right? So without learning, growth cannot happen. Now, as we go along, so that's one side. Now, as we are going along, um, obviously, like many other organizations, we are migrating towards AI-based learning tools, which are cutting across all our business segments, like again, classical, segments like sales, research, even HR. We are, fostering learning. I mean, AI-based learning tools. Also, the focus is on bite-size learning. Digital learning obviously is in, but the attention span of people in times of Instagram and social media, where your span of attention is very less. I think bite-size learning is something which has to be deeply embedded in the learning delivery and which you're focusing on. By the way, our digital learning platform is a huge hit amongst employees. Every year it logs in thousands of hours of learning, which in turn, as I said, is converted, crunched into learning quotient for all our employees. We are today, what, close to 13,500 people. And just imagine 13,500 people, if each is expected to have a learning quotient of 7, to get that 7 LQ, how many hours of learning the person will have to do. So very, very deep focus with a lot of rigor and with a lot of seriousness, along with measurement and reporting, indexes around it.
Yeah, that's quite inspiring, you know. So, you're talking about technology, AI and as such. So, with AI and Gen AI gaining so much momentum, in the last few years, how do you see these technologies transforming the way you approach talent management and workforce planning?
So, a big not only talent management and I think workforce planning, it cuts across the people vertical. You are specific to talent management and workforce planning in HR, but I think it is cutting across all. Uh, 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 for example, we don't. I think, look, the fundamental belief is that you get to hear a lot about what will happen if AI comes and takes over my real time work. And there is this apprehension, threat with all what you're reading on social media. I think we have to embrace it. We don't have to be threatened by this. I think it's a great opportunity to upskill the workforce since there is, I feel, and we are already experiencing exponential increase, Abhik, in the productivity of people because of this, right? So no wonder that your talent management models, your workforce planning models. I was mentioning about the career pathways. AI can AI can build career pathways beautifully, and in 1/10 of the time, one would take as a team to come together and build and present. Right, that is the sharpness and accuracy of AI when if you talk about let's say talent management. Workforce planning, I remember uh, in my previous organization around 10 years back from now, a decade back, we did a project with one of the reputed firms and it lasted for 4 months. On workforce planning, we categorize the roles and put the manpower, we put the skill gaps, we put the role gaps, we put numbers around it. Now, that 5 months a week, I can tell you because I have worked on the methodology, that I wish the kind of advanced tools we have, right, and open source tools we have, I can tell you that 5 months of effort by about 20 people. Today, if I have to run the same exercise on workforce planning across a workforce then, which was about 30,000 people, I can do this in 15 days with 2 people, right? So that is the impact, maybe lesser, maybe lesser. I'm just referring to open source AI, which you and me can use now on our laptops. So that is huge, huge exponential productivity increase, one. The other thing is that, as I said, we have to look at the flexibility these tools, AI or technology. are providing us to, of course, look at productivity increase, but also look to uh, increase the upskilling of the people as they get free, as their bandwidth gets free to learn other jobs rather than getting threatened by it. Right. So I think embracing them rather than getting worried by their emergence and dominance. I think we are worried by their dominance, but we use them wisely, we understand them wisely, and deploy them wisely. I think it's a win-win situation for everyone. That's the way I look at it.
Wonderful. So thank you so much, Niren, for sharing your
Thank
insights with
you.
us today. And it's been a very enriching conversation for me, and I'm sure for the viewers. And to our viewers, make sure you stay tuned for our next episode, where we will continue to explore more trends and more transformative ideas shaping the future of work. Until next time, thank you and take care.